What is this world coming to? That was literally the tagline for the second WrestleMania. All right, WrestleMania 2. This is the very first pay-per-view event for WrestleMania, but it also featured closed circuit. If you're into that, if you were still into that sort of thing, if you wanted to spend $10 to see it in a movie theater, which I think is still awesome and still should be done to this day. So, the WWF had to come up with a way to top the original WrestleMania. And Vince McMahon has lost his ever-loving mind, apparently. And it's still a fact to this day. So to achieve that, they had to go to not one, not two, but 3 different cities. And in 3 different arenas. That would be the Nassau Coliseum in New York, which would be Long Island, I believe. I think. Yeah, Long Island. The Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois, and the Los Angeles Sports Arena in Los Angeles, California. Each arena held 4 different matches, and the arenas could link with the live satellite feeds, which is pretty cool. So the New York feed would go from the first 4 matches, and then the screens would lower down, and the fans in the arena would see the next 2 hours, and vice versa. In Chicago, the first hour would be shown on the screen. The screen would come up. They would see their 4 matches, and then the screen would come down, and they would see the final 4 matches. And then Los Angeles would have to wait 2 hours and watch the matches on the screen, and then the screens would come up, and they would see their part of the show. Okay, so let's start things off with the New York portion of the show. Vince McMahon and Susan St. James are on commentary. And before we start the actual card itself, I have to mention Ray Charles sang America the Beautiful, and my God, that is probably the best rendition of America the Beautiful I've ever heard in my entire life. Ray Charles did an amazing job with that song. Okay, so we get to the New York portion of the show. The first match, oh boy, what a difference a year makes. The first match, Paul Orndorff, who was in the main event the previous year, was going up against the magnificent Morocco, Don Morocco, and Mr. Fuji. 2 big fellas here. This match should have been better than it was. Morocco works through a few power routines. Orndorff displays his technical work, but it really doesn't. But it doesn't seem. This doesn't seem right. It's a crap finish as well. I expected much more from the opener. Paul Orndorff wins. Well, they fought to a double countout, so it wasn't that good. Now, all right, it's time for the WrestleMania debut of one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, Macho Man Randy Savage, defending his Intercontinental title against George the Animal Steele. Now, Savage, in my opinion, is a pure wrestling class. Heel or face, doesn't matter to me. The man always puts on a show. Then he comes to the WWF and very quickly becomes the Intercontinental Champion. Anyways, back to the match. The styles of these 2 men don't get along too well, although Savage tries to carry Animal throughout the remainder of the match. Not a bad match, but I'm shocked and deeply annoyed that Steele felt that he had the right to kick out of the elbow. Watch it, you'll know what I mean. Macho Man Randy Savage successfully defends his Intercontinental Championship. Now we get Jake the Snake Roberts, the newest Hall of Fame inductee, against George Wells. Okay. Brand new heel with a killer gimmick against some random jobber picked up the corner of Jabroni Drive and Inaugural Boulevard. Nothing really. It was just a jobber match. DDT. Jake the Snake Roberts wins. Next, now we get to the the boxing match. The year in the making of actually, it was more than a year in the making for this one. Rowdy Roddy Piper against Mr. T. 2 of the main eventers of the previous year's WrestleMania now slug it out close to there to close out the New York segment of the show. This is a hard match to rate as it's so weird. I mean, a lot of people don't like this match, but I find Roddy Piper to be hilarious in this match, especially in heel mode. So I actually like it. I actually like this match. Piper's flagrant cheating is so funny, and T's efforts to play it off straight is so damn admirable. So Mr. T wins by disqualification. Mr. T had Smokin' Joe Frazier and the Haiti Kid in his corner. Rowdy Piper had Lou Duva and Cowboy Bob Orton in his corner. So that pretty much ends the New York portion. Now we get to the Chi-Town, Chicago, the Windy City version of the show. On commentary, we get Gorilla Monsoon, Mean Gene Okerlund, and Kathy Lee Crosby. Whoever Kathy Lee Crosby is. So we get the women's title. The Fabulous Moolah against Velvet McIntyre. Man, this is bad. This was bad. She lost. Velvet McIntyre pretty much lost to an old lady. Velvet is actually a pretty damn good wrestler, but she got squashed by an old lady. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Next up, we get a flag match. Corporal Krishner and Nikolai Volkov. Okay, good American Sergeant Slaughter ripoff against an evil Russian. Against an evil Russian. This is pretty much the WWF's answer to the Cold War. A flag match. The idea being that each man enters his country and the winner leaves with both. Sounds pointless. Yes, it is. Another daft and pointless match. This Chicago segment doesn't appear to be shaping up too much. Oh, hang on. The two matches whip ass. So, the Corporal Kirshner wins the flag on a pole match. Now we get the Battle Royal, the inter-promotional Battle Royal on the NFL versus the WWF. The NFL, a lot of legends and a lot of the Battle Royal with a lot of WWF and NFL legends. The guest referee is Dick Butkus and Ed Too Tall Jones, and the timekeeper is Claire Keller. All right, so the participants are as follows. Representing the NFL, Jimbo Covert, Ted Arcidi. I'm probably gonna botch these names. Ted Arcidi, Harvey Martin, Ernie Holmes, Bill Farlick, Russ Francis, and William the Refrigerator Perry. And representing the WWF, Pedro Morales, Tony Atlas, Dan Spivey, Hillbilly Jim, King Tonga, the Iron Cheek, the Killer Bees, sorry, that's my Iron Cheek impression of, Big John Studd, the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil, Bruno Sammartino, and Andre the Giant. Well, this is pretty good fun. Most battle royals are. You get a chance to see the future of wrestling and Bret the Hitman Hart involved in as quite a major player here, which is pretty awesome. If you take a look at the participants, you can pretty much guess who's going to win this one, and it's no surprise. It's Andre the Giant. So it was good fun nonetheless. Now we get to the main portion of the Chicago show, which is a tag team match between the Dream Team, which was Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus Beefcake, who I believe was not doing the barber gimmick at this point, against the British Bulldogs. And the Dream Team had Johnny Valiant in his corner, and the British Bulldogs had with Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith and Captain Lou Albano and the great Ozzy Osbourne in their corner. Oh yes, the Bulldogs. In my opinion, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and no, not just because they're British. So seriously, Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid were ahead of their time, pulling out moves you would previously see in like Mexico or Japan. This match is absolutely brilliant. I never thought I'd say that about a match featuring Bruce the Barber Beefcake or Greg the Hammer Valentine in it, but yet it works. It's the best match of the night, bar none. It's a fabulous performance, great story to the match, superb, shocking ending, and it doesn't get much better than this. I mean, the British Bulldogs win the tag team championships from the Dream Team of Greg the Hammer Valentine and Bruce the Barber Beefcake. Now we get to the Los Angeles portion of the show. Starting out with, on commentary, you got Jesse the Body Ventura, Lord Alfred Hayes, and Elvira. Okay, so the first match of the Los Angeles portion of the show is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against Hercules Hernandez. I pretty much like both of these guys, but this match just didn't do it for me. I didn't like their styles. I don't think their styles complemented each other particularly well. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. Just decent. It was just decent. Now we got Uncle Elmer against Adrian Adonis. Oh, by the way, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat obviously beat Hercules Hernandez. Now we got Adrian Adonis, adorable Adrian Adonis, and Uncle Elmer. And Adrian Adonis has Jimmy Hart in this corner. This was a bad match. This was bad. Two fat men, one horribly dressed as a hillbilly, and the other dressed up in grease. It's just bad. One of the worst matches of the card. Next, now we got Tito Santana and Haas Funk with hang on. My bad. Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog against Terry Funk and Haas Funk with Jimmy Hart in their corner. That's more like it. Tito flying around all over the place. JYD smashing Funks through tables. The Funks taking some superb bumps. This is great fun. I love watching Terry Funk. I love watching Terry Funk wrestle because you know the guy's going to do some crazy shit to his body. And in this case, he did a backdrop onto the cement floor. So he's Terry Funk. What more can I say? This match is very fast paced. The styles complement each other quite well, and it's the most I've ever been attained by the Junkyard Dog. All in all, some pretty top stuff. Now we get to the main event. I keep forgetting the mention of the outcome. Terry Funk and Haas Funk, the Funk brothers, win this match. Now, the main event of WrestleMania 2, Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy with Bobby the Brain Heenan. Main event time. Hogan is in a cage, which is pretty unusual at the time. Here we see the start of the trend to see Hogan face similar guys bigger than he is. Like King Kong Bundy, Earthquake, Tugboat, etc. This isn't a bad match. It's not great either. But as a cage match, cage matches aren't really suited for massive guys. There's still some good action. A damn good story with Saturday Night's Main Event where he rams or avalanches Hogan, and then Bobby Heenan gets involved and all that stuff. So it's a damn good story. It's a little bit of blood. Bobby the Brain Heenan receives a slap or ram into the cage, which is all good fun. Problem is, there's never a question of who's going to win. So it's pretty obvious who's going to win. It's Hulk Hogan, obviously. So that's WrestleMania 2. Not as good as the first, but it's still worth a look, especially for the introduction WrestleMania debuts of both Randy Macho Man Savage and Jake the Snake Roberts, and that very good British Bulldog match. All right, so that's WrestleMania 2 out of 10. I'm going to give this a 3.5. Best match of the night by far is the British Bulldogs versus the uh, Dream Team, Greg the Hammer Valentine and Bruce the Barber Beefcake. And the worst match would probably be Uncle Elmer versus Adrian Adonis. So that is WrestleMania 2. Stay tuned for WrestleMania 3.